Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling one of the biggest, most fundamental questions there is. Where does religion actually come from? Where does that capacity for belief even start? We're going to go on a journey. And this isn't just a history lesson. We're going way, way back, right into the dawn of human consciousness itself.
All right, let's dive right in. We are on the hunt for the origin of belief. And think about this. This is a story that starts long before any sacred texts were ever written. We're talking before the Great Pyramids, even before the very first cities were built. This is a quest that's going to take us deep, deep into our prehistoric past.
Now, for millions of people, the answer to this huge question is found in the heavens, right? It comes from sacred texts, from holy books that offer a direct line to the divine. And those are, of course, incredibly powerful and deeply personal answers for so many.
But for our investigation, we're starting somewhere else. The first clues, well, they aren't written on parchment or found in any scripture. Nope, our journey begins in the dark. The evidence we're looking for is etched onto the walls of ancient caves. It's buried deep within the earth, and it's whispered from the silent graves of our most distant ancestors.
So, the dawn of belief. Where do we even start looking for the first clues? Well, the trail doesn't begin with words. It begins with things. The very first physical hints of human spirituality, left behind for us like scattered pieces of a massive puzzle, some of them tens of thousands of years old.
So check this out. Some of the first real evidence we have for belief comes from how we treated our dead. We're talking as far back as 30,000 BC. People were buried with their tools, with food. Now, why would you do that? It really suggests they believed in something else, an afterlife. Then you've got the incredible cave art, deep underground. It's not just pretty pictures. It looks like rituals, attempts to connect with or maybe influence a supernatural world. And later, once farming starts, you can see the focus shift. It becomes all about fertility, the harvest, and the forces that control them.
In this quote, it is easy to understand their awe and respect for the mystery of maternity. Man, that really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Just imagine, in a world where survival was a daily struggle, the creation of new life must have seemed like the ultimate magic, the biggest miracle of all. And that incredible awe? That is very likely the source of all those great mother goddess figures we find all over the ancient world. It was humanity's first real attempt to give a face to the mystery of life itself.
Okay, so we're moving into our next chapter, a world of gods, because that primal sense of awe, that vague feeling of a greater power, it didn't just stay that way. It grew, it evolved. And it eventually gave birth to entire families of gods and goddesses, with names, with personalities, and with specific cosmic jobs to do.
And what's fascinating is that as societies got more complex, so did their beliefs. You start to see these two major patterns, these two primal forces emerge to explain the world. First, you've got the Earth Mother. She was absolutely central to the first farming communities, right? Because everything depended on the fertility of the land. But then, something changes. As these more warrior-led patriarchal cultures start to rise, a new figure appears. The Sky Father. He's this powerful, transcendent creator who brings order from on high, and in many places, he starts to take over as the main deity.
And it's from these two primal forces that you get the great pantheons, the whole family of gods. Think about places like Egypt or Mesopotamia. This wasn't just about collecting gods like baseball cards. No, this was about making sense of the world. The sun didn't just rise on its own. That was the god Re sailing his boat across the sky. The river didn't just flood. That was the work of a god too. Suddenly, with a deity in charge of every little thing, the entire world felt alive, packed with divine purpose and personality.
All right, Section 3, the search for order, because this world, full of countless gods, wasn't the end of the story. Not even close. In different corners of the globe, a completely new and honestly a pretty radical idea started to bubble up. People began to search not for more gods, but for a single underlying principle, something that governed absolutely everything.
So in the East, this new way of thinking led to concepts like Brahman. Now this is a total game changer. Brahman isn't a personal god you pray to for, a good harvest or to win a battle. Think of it more as the ultimate reality, the god of the philosophers. It's the single, impersonal, unchanging source of everything. All the variety and chaos of the universe flows from this one single principle. It's a huge philosophical leap. Meanwhile, in the West, that same search for a single source went in a different direction. It led to what we call the prophetic God. And the key difference here is one word: personality. This isn't just an impersonal principle. This is a God who is a being
A God who rules the universe, who has a will, and, this is crucial, who communicates that will to people through prophets and lawgivers. This is a God who gets involved, who acts in human history.
So our trip through the ancient world shows this incredible evolution of belief, right? But that brings us to the next big question, the modern one. Why do we believe in the first place? What's going on in our heads? Let's pivot and look at how modern thinkers have tried to get to the bottom of it.
And this leads us to a huge ongoing debate. It basically boils down to this. Is religion something we create in our own minds? That was Sigmund Freud's take. He thought it was basically a psychological need, a kind of infantile neuroses centered on a powerful father figure. Or is it a response to something actually out there, something beyond us? Thinkers like Rudolf Otto argued for this. He said we humans have an innate ability to sense the numinous, a supernatural, wholly other reality that is both terrifying and completely fascinating.
Okay, so here we are, at the end of this whirlwind tour. What's the takeaway? I mean, we've journeyed from the silence of Stone Age graves all the way to the heart of modern psychological debates. It's been quite a ride.
So, have we found one single simple answer to where religion comes from? Nope. And you know what? That's kind of the whole point. The real story here isn't about one single starting pistol going off. It's about a continuous, unending human quest for meaning. The faces of the gods change, the rituals evolve, but that deep, fundamental impulse to look for meaning, that's the constant thread woven through our entire human story.
When you think about it, this whole journey, from that primal feeling of awe in a dark cave, to building entire families of gods in the sky, to searching for one single cosmic order, it all shows that the drive to ask why is one of the most basic things about being human. It's this constant, restless search for a story that's bigger than we are. And that leaves us with one final thought, one question for you. What is the source of your story?